So here I'm going to use the letter S to represent the number of small bolts that this company makes and L for the large one. And the question is S plus L less than 5,000? Total number of bolts that the company made. So I'll start with statement 1. The bolts that the company made last month used less than $500 worth of material. So here, if it costs, or at least there's 5 cents worth of material for the small bolts, that means 0.05 S plus 0.07 L. That has to be less than 500. Now, these are the lower limit because it could be higher. It's just saying that used at least, it could be more. So I'm just going to work with those and see if I can answer this as a yes or no. So multiply both sides by 100. And then I'm going to look for values of S and L that will satisfy the statement, but then answer it as a yes and a no. So let's say if S is 2,000 and L is 2,000. In this case, S and L add up to 4,000, which the answer would be yes, but then we just have to check this. This would be 10,000, and then that would be 14,000. That does indeed add up to 24,000, which is less. Now, another value I could choose is S is 4,000, L is 3,000. In this case, S plus L is greater than that, so the answer is no, and we just have to make sure we satisfy this condition, which is 20,000. I'm replacing that here, plus 21,000, and that's 41,000, which is indeed less than 50,000. So I have a yes and a no for statement 1, so 1 alone is insufficient. Now we'll look at statement 2, which says the sum of the selling price of the bolts was greater than 1,300. So selling price for the large bolt, small bolt was 0.1 or $0.1, and that for the larger one was 0.25. So the translation of that inequality is that this is 1,300. Now I can rewrite this by multiplying both sides by 10. And then the question is, given this, do I have a definite answer? So actually, I just want to point out that this is actually greater, but it doesn't matter, at least for the work that I've done so far, because either way, if I have a yes and a no, that is insufficient. But now that I'm doing 2, I just have to be consistent. So that was a slight error in translation there. So if we look at this inequality, I tried to first think of doing it algebraically, but then I said, let me just graph it. And I think this is where it's important to be able to graph inequalities quickly. So I'll start by drawing that one. So 2003, 4, 5, that's the x-intercept. It's easy for that first. You first draw out the equation of the straight line, and that would be the y-intercept. And it's gonna, and since we're only in positive values, we're only looking at the first quadrant. And so all of these values satisfy that condition. But this is the constraint. So we need to graph that. The x-intercept is going to be 13,000, so it's going to be somewhere here, replacing L with 0. And the y-intercept would be when S is 0, because I'm really drawing the graph of the corresponding straight line. So that would be 13,000 divided by 2.5, which is 26,000 divided by 5, and that is 5,200. So it's going to be somewhere here. So if we draw it, it's going to be like that. We have to stick to the first quadrant. And all the values that would satisfy this will actually be here. And the way you know that is by using the origin, because if you plug in 0, 0, you'll see 0 is not greater than 13,000, which means 0 is not in the shaded region, which means the other side has the solution. So you'll see that all the points that satisfy the inequality that's given to us in statement 2 do indeed satisfy this condition, because that shaded region is beyond that part. So any point that's in this region will satisfy this inequality. So 2 is actually sufficient, 2 alone. And it is a hard question, because if you just try different values, I mean, you can only try certain examples. How do you convince yourself that you've exhausted all the examples? And this is where I think thinking about it with the inequality in graphs is helpful. Now, I don't know at this moment if there's a way to just purely do it algebraically. I think I tried it, but I didn't see a path forward. Maybe it's there. I just haven't figured it out. But this is what I actually did in the exam using the graph. So to summarize, the answer is B.